One thing the president did not do today was take any questions at all from conservative media. He got a bunch of softballs. We're going to bring in our own Newsmax correspondent, Emerald Robinson, for more on the press conference. She was there today. You were in the East Room. You were ignored like many others. Tell us about the experience, Emerald. Good to see you.
Well, it's good to see you, Rob. When I walked in, I saw the seating set up, and I pretty quickly determined that I was unlikely to get a question. And when President Biden walked in, he had a piece of paper in his hand, or a couple pieces of paper. He gave about 2 minutes of introduction to his remarks, where he touted some of his quote-unquote successes. And then he, without looking up, started calling names. First, he called the AP Zeke Miller, and then he went down a list of about 10 friendly media who, as you noted, asked him questions about what a nice guy he was, and is that the reason there was a surge at the border. They didn't push back on the information he gave, and that's what I'm used to with the Trump administration. This was very different from the last 4 years of press conferences that I sat through. Joe Biden was able to say that this is normal, as what we're seeing at the border with surges, saying that it happens every year. That though we do see surges, it's usually not this time of year that we're seeing. And also his own Department of Homeland Security has already said that we're on track for a 20-year high in migrants trying to cross the border. He also suggested that most migrants are turned away. Well, we just learned last week from his own DHS that the majority of migrant families are not being turned away. In fact, only about 10% of the 1,300 migrant families who tried to cross the border last week were turned away. So 90% were allowed to stay. And as you accurately noted, there's also a lot of focus on the filibuster, but it almost felt like a public relations event for the filibuster, suggesting that it must be done. Even the media suggesting, are you going to do this in order to overcome obstructionist Republicans? I will say this was unlike any press conference I've ever been a part of, in that the people were pre-selected, and Joe Biden had a pretty clear picture of what the questions would be because he had prepared remarks to answer the question, Rob.
Yeah, I mean, it really did. I mean, some of those from CBS, from PBS, I mean, I just felt like these were like Democratic strategists asking questions to the candidate that they want to do well. I mean, it really was ridiculous. Emerald Robinson, you know, you got to watch the show. I'm sorry you didn't get to, get involved, but at least you were there for the fun.
If I was there, if I had gone to ask a question, Rob, I do think it would have been important to ask about Rachel Levine, who was just confirmed to a top position at the Health and Human Services Department, although in Pennsylvania there is an independent investigation into a similar nursing home scandal like in New York that this person would have been implicated in. And there's also breaking news on Hunter Biden, the president's son, in a gun issue in 2018 that the Secret Service intervened in, even though Joe Biden wasn't in office. Also, I'd want to know, is Hunter Biden divesting himself of that stake in the Chinese investment firm BHR Partners, like the administration has said he would before taking office, and he had not yet, as far as we know. So there's so much to ask. And
allegations of sexual assault from a woman in his past, and I mean, there's so many questions that if he were Trump, would have been blasted out left and right. But because it's Biden, because our media loves Biden, loves Democrats, this is where we are. Emerald Robinson, thank you so much for joining us. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Rob.
All right.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.